My name is Doring Lloyd. I'm Vice President for Business Development with Default Servicing Technologies. And what I'm tasked with talking to you all about today, there we go, is primarily about the REO market in the state of Illinois and how things are moving in this state and a historical perspective of REO data here in Illinois. So in being able to do that, I have to give you a little bit of background of who we are at Default Servicing Technologies, our software solution, Dispo Solution Software, and how I have data on REOs in the state of Illinois. So pretty much what we're going to go through today is a little bit about default servicing, then talk about Illinois state data, then data that we've extracted on the state of Illinois through our Dispo Solution software, and then just a couple screenshots on our software platform, and then we'll have time for questions, and maybe I'll answer them. If I can't, I'll certainly point to someone else in the crowd that probably could. Okay, so who is Default Servicing Technologies? So we were founded by a gentleman in the Chicago area about 8 years ago, and he saw the need when the real estate market was crashing for a place to have a database with a bunch of different real estate agents for investors and servicers to find agents across the country to be able to dispose of their properties when the market was crashing. So they had the investors had, and the lenders and servicers had all these REOs, but they were using pretty much Google to find an agent in an area. So he developed this software. But then it morphed into a place where he said, well, I think investors and servicers could use this platform, a place to put their assets, and yet find a real estate agent in California to work that asset and work and take care of all those processes and tasks that need to happen in order to bring that property back on the market. So think of it this way. You have a workflow management where you have an investor or servicer using the software on one side and a real estate agent and broker using the software on the other side, and it allows for more efficient communication, again, to get all those tasks and processes done in order to bring that property back on the market. In addition to the Dispo Solutions platform, we have the Valuation Platform, which is a place for servicers, lenders to order BPOs, appraisals, and AVMs. Our pre-foreclosure management software. This platform is soon to be released, and it's a place pretty much where investors can, again, track and manage their REO assets, or soon to be REO perhaps, or in the pre-foreclosure due diligence stage. So tracking the valuations, managing the expenses there, ordering title. And then finally, our REO platform, which is a place for servicers, lenders to list all of their properties across the country and receive offers on those properties as well. So it has a bit of an offer management technology built in there where the offers can be countered right in there and tracking of those offers and notes on the property, et cetera. And again, that's on a nationwide basis. And that's available for anyone to go out there and look for properties that they might be interested in purchasing, or from an investor side that's trying to sell those as well. Okay, so the overall application, once again, a place for brokers to be assigned to look into the property for the occupancy status, for evictions, for an attorney to be assigned, cash for keys processing, property preservation, ordering can be done here, valuation services can be done here. The marketing of the property, which I'm very pleased to announce that we've recently partnered with Bid for Assets for the auction site. So now we can offer auctions. So if you want to list your properties in one place, you can now have them on the REO consumer site as well as throwing them into the auction site as well. Offering settlement services and a place to track expenses as well and manage those expenses on that asset. Okay, Now we're going to dive into the nitty-gritties of the Illinois data. So I haven't seen this on the big screen, so hopefully can you guys pretty well make that out, these numbers back there? Okay, terrific. Okay, so the state of Illinois. Now this data comes from Collateral Analytics, which I'm sure you guys are all familiar with. They have multiple sources from which they collect data, as well as the MLS data. So what we have here is the total number of REO sales by county in the state of Illinois for 2014 and 2015. But what I really want to point out to you, which you might not be able to see, is the red indicates here for 2014 that it's up to 7,000 REO assets, primarily in Cook County, okay, for 2014. Okay, so then what you have here in 2015, the legend changes dramatically, where the total number of REO sales in Illinois is only 2,000. So a big difference there, big drop off over the year. And again, that's just this thus far of 2015 in this situation, but it is a significant decline. Another thing that I noticed, and I'm sure you guys did as well, is if you look at Will and Lake counties, so although the volume has dropped, the intensity or the number has also, let me see what, in Will County over there, I can't make that out. It looks like it went more to the pink, from the white more to the pink. So it did increase in terms of the numbers, although the volumes did drop in those areas, the overall volume. Okay, and then we have it broken out in terms of the condominium sales in each of the counties, 2014 versus 2015, and topping out in 2014 for condos at 2,500 units, and then in 2015 thus far, only 600 units so far. And then the single-family residences, with the red indicating 4,500 units for 2014 and 1,400 units or sales in 2015 for REOs for single-family residences. So you're definitely on the decline here year over year. But later in my presentation, I'll give you some information which might lend a little information towards a slight increase happening again. Okay, now going over into Dispo Solution Software, our platform, and what we're seeing in the state of Illinois in terms of REO sales. So the key metrics being the active REO, which for us means not pre-REO, not closed, and not, what was the other thing? And not withdrawn yet, exactly. So 2013 to 2014, a significant increase. And then 2015, you have a decrease, of course. Okay, and then new REOs. Now this is what was added to our system, our platform for the state of Illinois by our clients in terms of assets. So 2013 to 2014, you had an increase. And then 2015, you have the drop off. And again, we ran our data from July 1st to June 30th. I just did want to point that out to you because that's a little different than the Collateral Analytics data. And then the number of closed sales, 2013, 582 sales, 2014, practically double that, and then 15 again, even more REO sales have happened. And then the median sales price creeping up. So that is good news. So does anyone want to take a stab at why the median sales price is going up in Illinois? Anyone? Bueller? Remember, that's perfect for Chicago, right? Anyone? No. Well, what we think we're seeing from our clients is that they're spending, the investors, the institutional lenders, are actually putting in the dollars, the capital, to make the rehabs on the property. And they're finding the value of rehabbing the property before they're putting it on the market. And in that way, they're actually earning a better dollar on the asset itself at the time it's closed. And then what we have here is the Illinois Reo Heat Map. And this is representative of active sales within Dispo Solution as of June 30th of this year. So again, the concentration being up in Cook, Will, and Lake counties. And for those who can't see, the dark orange represents up to 500 assets, which are mostly up in the Cook County area. That goes back to what you kept saying, what's happening in Cook County, right? Then we took a look at the Dispo Solutions, the average REO sales price. So from 2013 through July of 2015, you can see pretty much how the sales prices are trending, with December of 2014 looks to be the top of the market thus far, and that equated to about 160 properties being sold with an average sales price of $140,000. And then we took a look at 2015, and that's how it's trending thus far, with June being the top month so far, and that represented about 157 properties and the average sales price of about $137,000. Oh boy, okay, it kind of broke up a little bit there, but you get the idea. So what we have here is we've taken the collateral analytics data broken out by single-family residences and condos, and the data from Dispo Solutions, which we do not break out our sales into condominiums and single-family residence, and laid that on and looked at the median sales price for this data. So what we think this represents is that in our Dispo Solutions software, we might happen to have assets that probably are valued at less, or perhaps that the fact that, you know, maybe our servicers from their clients are dealing with lower valued assets in the first place. And this is a look at the average, just how the sales are closing, how it's trending over time from collateral analytics. Going down, and of course that speaks to the volume in the state of Illinois. And this is this slide is one of my favorites. I love this data. So as you can see here, the average days on the market for an asset within collateral analytics data represents about 100 or more plus days on the market from the time it's listed to the time it's sold. Within the Dispo Solution software and our data, we're averaging, what we're seeing is about 40 to 57 days or so on the market from the time the property is listed in Dispo Solutions to the time it's actually sold. So what we believe that correlates to is using a software program such as Dispo Solutions, hint, hint, you can manage these assets and all the transactions that take place and need to take place in order to get that property back on the market. And of course that equates to less money out of your pockets too. Less dollars, less time on the market, less dollars out of your pocket therefore. Now I'm going to leave this up for a few minutes while I just read you a couple things. Does anyone here get Servicing Management magazine? Anybody? Just one person in the crowd. Okay. So Servicing Management, you may want to look into just subscribing to it. It's an interesting magazine. They constantly have data in there from CoreLogic, Realty Track, some of the other sources I'll probably think of when I'm talking to you. So I just came across some interesting data and I thought I would share that with you in terms of how the numbers look on a nationwide basis, and then it actually has some data in there about Illinois and some recent figures and facts that can speak to foreclosures and the equity in the property. Okay, so bear with me while I read. So in July 2015, the Servicing Management magazine, CoreLogic reported foreclosure inventory down to 1.4%. So this is April data, April 2015 data, and CoreLogic said that foreclosure inventory was down to 1.4%, or 521,000 of all homes with a mortgage. And that compares to April 2014, where there was 1.8%, or 694,000 homes with a mortgage in versus 1.8%, or 694,000 homes in April of 2014. The number of mortgages in serious delinquency at 90 plus or more days past due, including loans in foreclosure or REO, stood at 1.4 million, or 3.6% of all properties with a mortgage. That's a 3% decrease from March and a 22% decrease from April of 2014. And as you would suspect, employment recovery, foreclosure alternatives, and home value gains have all worked to reduce the inventory. Homeowners having missed 3 or more payments or are in foreclosure proceedings dropped to 3.6 in the April data. Now, Realty Track, talking about foreclosure filings, and this includes default notices, scheduled auctions, and bank repossessions, reported that about 126,000 properties in April of this year were in foreclosure filings, or an increase of 3% compared to March and a 9% increase over April of 2014. This is pretty interesting. Driving the increase was a 25% month-over-month jump in bank repossessions, or REOs, which were up a second straight month as mortgage servicers rapidly cleared out the backlog of foreclosure volume. So basically, what they're reporting is that all the states, the judicial states that have all these foreclosure proceedings waiting to happen, are finally starting to come to fruition, and therefore the REO market is starting to creep up a little bit, as you would suspect and is what you would see. REO properties sold in Q1, for the first quarter of this year, this is nationwide, sold in an average of 243 days. That's much better, that's much worse than your Illinois market. Down from 300 days in Q4 of 2014, but up from 226 days in Q1 of 2014. The average sales price of REOs in the first quarter of this year, this is great stuff, was 87% of the average estimated market value. Everybody write that down? There'll be a quiz on that later. Okay, so I'll repeat that one. The average sales price of REOs sold in Q1 of this year was 87% of the average estimated market value. Okay. Just a couple more quick notes I want to get through here. In 2015, so this is now August of 2015, Servicing Management Magazine, foreclosure filings, repossessions, scheduled auctions were reported on almost 127,000 properties in May, which was a 1% increase from April, and it was primarily due to, again, the foreclosures working through the process. 103,000 properties entered REO status in May of 2014 because of the lenders pushing through the foreclosures. Get ready, folks. The highest foreclosure starts in May year over year happened in New Jersey, Virginia, Missouri, Massachusetts, and Washington. Year-over-year increases occurred in New York at 118%, Illinois 23%, New Jersey 22%, and Maryland 11%. And then finally, the housing equity, just to note here, what CoreLogic found was that fewer homes are in negative equity anymore. And of the states with the highest number of underwater properties in Q1, Nevada was 23%, Florida 21.2%, Illinois 16.8%, Arizona 16.8%, and Rhode Island 15.7%. Those 5 states account for 31.4% of all the homes in the U.S. with negative equity. So, I think that's interesting. All right, moving on. So, what I'm launching into now, first of all, does anyone have any questions about any of the data that I've put up there, any of the facts and figures? If it has to do with collateral analytics, I'll have to get back to you. No? Okay. So these next few shots are basically screenshots from the Dispo Solutions software. This first one being a property list page. So think of this in terms of the macro view, the macro level. So the investor, the servicer, and what they're able to see using the software. So this is a place where they can look at every single one of their properties and the different stages that those properties are in. Has a valuation been ordered on it? Has property preservation been done on it? What is the status of the property preservation? Notes on the property. Is it in marketing? Has an offer been made? Has a counter offer gone back, etc.? Then go down to what would be the next step, taking one property and going to a micro view of that. Okay, so exactly what is going on with that property. So in other words, the listing, the marketing of the property, once again, specific to that property. The valuations. Was a BPO ordered? And how did it look? What did it come out to be? The price history, property summary, notes on the property, what's going on with the repairs of the property, etc. Another place to manage your assets. And again, a great place for you and the real estate agent to communicate all those tasks and processes in order to bring that property back on the market sooner and hopefully putting less money out of your own pocket. And then a view from our consumer site. So again, this is the site where our clients can list all of their properties, put all of their assets into one database, and anybody looking to buy REO properties or wants to make an offer can submit an offer right through this platform. And then finally, the view for finding that real estate agent. Putting in a city, state, and zip code in any given area to find the real estate agent who is familiar with working with REO assets in any given place. With that said, I am all finished. I probably am, I'm only giving you back a few minutes. Okay. Any questions for me? Good, just the way I wanted it. Yes.
Which states are actually in your platform?
Our system, our software is nationwide. So we have servicers all over the country that work portfolios for their clients, and those assets are located all over the country. And therefore, finding an agent is all over the country as well. I think right now, at one time we had about 60,000 agents who are signed up to use the software. Not every one of them is active at this time because the market obviously has declined.
Would you have an estimate number of how many for Chicago or Illinois in general?
I can tell you that in the last 2 years, we had, in our software alone, there were 152 agents that received listings from the various servicers asking them to be the agent on that property. Yep. Thank you. Yes? How do I
subscribe? I want to get.
Oh, how do you subscribe?
Yes.
Presuming that you would be the investor to manage the properties, correct? Or not on the real estate side, not on the agent side, correct? You can see me, I'll give you a card afterwards, and it's just a very simple setup. And I don't want to get into all the details out here, but it's really inexpensive. There's no setup fees at all either, so yes.
Do you advertise a list of servicers that utilize your technology?
Do we advertise a list of services? Servicers.
Use your technology?
It's proprietary to both them and to us. So some people tell us we cannot announce that they use our system, but others say, yeah, go ahead and say it. If you want my card, I'll be happy to, give you some names. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you listening. Roll up this bad boy and let's watch some Blue Angels.